Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer. Say, did you hear two antennas just got married? I'll bet the reception was amazing. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at Legendary Encounters, a deck building game, The Matrix from Upper Deck.
We'll get back to the review in just a moment. I want to take a minute to ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about history, books on history, military history. I even post some of my lectures for my classes on there. Please check that out. Please subscribe to that channel. And now, back to the review.
In Legendary Encounters, a deck building game, The Matrix from Upper Deck, 1 to 5 players take on the roles of the various heroes from the Matrix movies as they attempt to battle the evil machines, including Agent Smith. Now, if you've ever played a Legendary Encounters game before, you kind of know what to expect here, and you'll be able to get into this game fairly easily. Now, essentially, what you do here is you actually take on the roles of those specific characters like Neo, Morpheus, Trinity, etc. And you do that by actually getting an avatar. You have the card that represents that particular character, then you also have a cardboard standee. Now, this is kind of interesting because we've never really seen cardboard standees in a Legendary Encounters game like this before. Now, the game comes with the first 3 Matrix films. You can play through them just like in the Aliens game, you can play through the Aliens film. So what you do is you go ahead and you get the mini decks, and you go ahead, you prepare the mini decks. You're going to add some parts of the system cards in there, depending on player count, to create your Matrix deck. Now, some of those mini decks will also have extra decks. What you do is you actually set these extra decks off to the side. You just put them off to the side. They will enter play eventually. If you're playing Neo in the first game, he starts as Anderson. His card is upside down. He doesn't have access to one of his cards, and he actually starts in the Matrix itself. That's right. You're going to go in and out of the Matrix. There's a spot to put your characters in the Matrix, and then when they're out, you put them on your avatar card. Now, your starting cards are essentially cards that let you either attack or purchase, recruit. But you also have a free your mind card. And this is the card that Neo does not start with. He has to go through some stuff before he gets it. But what that card does is when it comes up in your deck, you can look down, and depending on what act you're in, because each of the mini decks represent an act, depending on which act you're in, you can go ahead and then trigger that specific ability every time you play that card. Now, as I say, you're going back and forth in and out of the Matrix, but there's certain ways you have to do this. Now, every turn, you have a free in or out of the Matrix option. You can go in or out, depending on what you want to do. Now, what you can do, though, is at any time with that free action on your turn, you can go into the Matrix. That's always open. You can always go into the Matrix. But to get out of the Matrix, you have to find a telephone. Now, along the Matrix row, you actually have 2 spaces that are telephones. As long as those are uncovered, you can just leave. You can tap that phone and bring your character out, and that's fine. It's not a problem. But if all of that row is covered, you have to go through the combat zone. Now, if there are cards there, that doesn't really matter, but it costs 3 recruit to get out through the combat zone. Now, critically here also, you have a time track. You start at 10, and this track is going to drop. It's going to start moving down. And it's going to do that in certain ways. Some card effects will trigger that. Some other things will trigger that too. But critically, if you are in the Matrix and there are cards in the combat zone, you will, of course, draw a strike for every card in the combat zone. This is a strike just like in the other Legendary Encounters games. You put it under your character and you build up strikes. Put it under your avatar card. But if you are in the real world, if you are not in the Matrix, your card is in the real world, and there are guys in the combat zone, there's cards in the combat zone, instead of getting a strike, you lose time for every card in the combat zone. So if you ever get to the bottom of time, you've lost the game. So it's a kind of a balance. Do you want to take the strikes in your avatar, or do you want to lose time in or out of the Matrix? Now, as I say, as you're going through the different acts in the movie, you're going to trigger the different act extra cards. Those are the decks you set aside. For instance, after you get through the first one, you're going to take the Neo deck and you're going to shuffle Neo into the Hero deck. Essentially, Neo becomes a hero that you can recruit as cards, but not until it's activated. But then you're going to find other cards that tell you you've got to do certain challenges. And if you can complete that challenge, then maybe you can move on to the next act or something else will happen. There's also new enemies that will come out that will try to fight you. So you've got to pay attention to what's going on with those extra decks. Now, while you're in the Matrix, you can use your attack power to scan any of the cards in the Matrix row. You can also use it to attack any cards in the Matrix row or in the combat zone. But you cannot recruit while you're in the Matrix. So you leave the Matrix, you can use your recruit to recruit new cards to better your deck, to become more powerful. But from outside, you cannot attack anything in the Matrix. So players are going around and around. In the Matrix, they are scanning the Matrix row, they are fighting cards, they are engaging in challenges, taking down cards in the combat zone. In the real world, they are recruiting more cards to become more powerful, and they're moving through the Matrix deck, and the story of the movie is unfolding as you go through it. You are engaging in various challenges, and you are being attacked by various enemies. Now, if ever at any time one player accrues enough strikes that it exceeds the number on their avatar card, then of course they are dead and players lose the game. If ever that time track gets down to 0, then players lose the game. But if the players can succeed in playing through all of the cards and completing all of the challenges for that scenario, then they win. Legendary Encounters, a deck building game. The Matrix. Okay, so full disclosure here. When Upper Deck announced they were making a Legendary Encounters game based on The Matrix, I was not thrilled. I was not thrilled because I saw The Matrix when it opened. What was it, 99 or something like that when it opened? I saw that movie and I thought it was really meh. I was the one. I remember I had so many friends that had seen it before I did, and they talked it up. Oh, it's the greatest film. It's the greatest film. It's the greatest. And so I thought, well, okay, I'll see it. And I remember watching it, and you had a buddy of mine was next to me going, huh, 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 and I was just so not impressed. I mean, I had some good visuals. There were some cool special effects and stuff, but just generally, I remember thinking the movie just is not that. It didn't grab me. I thought other people had kind of done a riff on the same thing and better. I thought the Terminator did it better, and I was not impressed. So I only saw that film once, wasn't a fan, and I've not seen any of the sequels. And anytime anybody was talking about the Matrix, I was like, whatever. So when they announced this was going to be a Legendary Encounters game, I was like, why? But the more I thought about it, I remember, the game's the thing, and I'm going to give any Legendary Encounters game, or any Legendary game for that matter, regardless of the IP, a chance. I had never seen the Buffy the Vampire Hunter TV show, and I ended up really liking that Legendary game. So I thought, I'll give this one a chance. I'll give Legendary Encounters The Matrix a chance. And so Kim and I played it a few times over the last few days. And as we're playing the game, obviously it's very familiar. It's like I say, it plays very much like a lot of these other games, a lot of these other Legendary Encounters games. And I like Legendary Encounters, so I'm getting into it, and I'm getting into it. And I find that this idea of going into and out of the Matrix to recruit or to battle is very cool. It's a very cool system, and I really like that. I really liked how you have to make that choice when you're going to make that transition from one spot to the other. And can you leave the Matrix if everything's covered up? Can you pay to get out? And if you can't pay to get out, is it worth it? Do you have any recruit left over to actually recruit? So I really liked those decisions that came along with it. I like the free your mind cards, how they activate the different abilities based on the act you're in. I thought that was really, really cool. I really liked playing the game, but I'll tell you, it is tough. In fact, Kim and I, in the games we played, we haven't won it. We have not won this game, but we've gotten close and closer every time. But I gotta tell you, it's fun. It is fun. I love this system, and I gotta be honest, even though I'm not overly familiar with the IP, I really got into it. In this idea of you're in the computer and then you're outside the computer, and then I mean, I just it bit me in a way the movie never did, and I had a lot of fun with it. If you're somebody who loves Legendary Encounters games, even if you're like me and you're not that impressed with this, you'll really like that system of getting in and out of the in and out of the matrix. I think you'll really like that. And of course, if you're somebody who really does like this IP, you will definitely want to get this one because it's a fantastic game. I think better than the movie. Maybe I should give the movie another chance. It's been over 20 years, but that's just my feelings. Anyway, long story short, too late. I really love the Matrix, the Legendary Encounters of the Matrix. It's super fun. It's great. I like the artwork. I like the gameplay. I like the presentation. I like the matte, that black on green. It just pops. There's really nothing I dislike about this game other than it's really hard, but that's okay. You want a cooperative game to be really hard, and this one is, and it's fun, and I can't wait to explore this. And there's other stuff in here. There's a trader, hidden trader version of the game you can play. I haven't checked that out. There's a ton of keywords here, and I've only played through the first film, but we've only been playing the first film, so there's a ton of new stuff I can't wait to discover. I'm just super excited about everything that this game can do. Um, it's a fun game, and there's a lot of replayability. There's a lot of fun and interesting stuff in here. Recommendation for the discriminating gamer for Legendary Encounters, a deck building game, The Matrix is buy it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We'd ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. I'd also ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to please check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about military history and books on history, fun things like that. I even post some of my lectures onto that channel, so please check that out. I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to that channel. Also, too, if you get a chance, please give a thumb to this video on Board Game Geek. That helps us out a lot as well. And if you are a big fan of the channel, if you like the content we bring here, I'd ask you to go ahead and click on the Super Thanks button here on the YouTube page and leave a contribution. Again, that helps us out a lot. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you, I was marked absent from my camouflage class today. I guess the teacher didn't see me.
Please somebody help me on my feet again, and I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band. Jack knows that I love the
Zach! Zach, are you here? Your door was open.
Ah! Oh, forgive me, Cody. For a moment I thought you were my nemesis.
Your nemesis? Zach, what are you talking about?
It's Zach Mann, Cody, burly defender of this corner of the living room.
Corner of the living room? Zach, you've got a towel for a cape and a giant Z on your chest. How old are you?
Nearly 40.
Zach, man, wait a second. Isn't the whole point of having a secret identity so that people don't know who you are?
Don't read too much into it, Cody. Besides, my nemesis is out there.
Your nemesis? What are you talking about?
Anti-Zach Man.
Anti-Zach, man?